Well, hey everybody, welcome to Anthem Church. So glad that you guys are here, like Jason and Jason. We're going to have to figure that whole thing out, like what to call them. I'm not too sure what to do with that yet. But my name is Jon Birkmire. If you didn't catch the sarcasm, so I'm not a big birthday guy. Even though I'm extroverted, since I was a little kid, I have hated the birthday song because everybody's like looking at me and singing a song about and to me. It's the weirdest thing. Like I literally feel physically uncomfortable thinking about the birthday song. So we have a rule on staff that no one is allowed to sing me happy birthday, and people know that. So that's why they're joking about that. But thank you for coming to my birthday party today. So glad that you guys are here. I am 31, which it's just like, I feel like once you get to I feel like once you turn 25 or 28, anything after that, you're like, whatever, man, So I'm so glad that you guys are here. And in case you didn't know, all weekend long, we threw one giant party here at Anthem called My Life. And My Life is honestly one of my absolute favorite times of the year because we get to get all these middle school and high school students from all over our area together and let them know one very important thing and a bunch of other important things. But the main thing we want them to know, our students here at Anthem and in our city, is that they matter and that they belong. That here at our church, we believe, and we believe that our God believes that they matter and that they belong. And so all weekend long, students were having a ton of fun. We did silent disco out there. We had great music and singing. They went and did host homes, all different types of stuff. Some of you crazy people hosted them in your homes. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. It was an incredible weekend. We are all running on empty. I'll be very honest with you. Last night at like 10:45, I think I had just finished vacuuming up street. And I don't know if the noise that the vacuum was making kind of put me to sleep, but I was just standing in the hallway with the vacuum running. I was done. And I was just kind of stuck. And Annie Tucker's like, hey, you doing all right there, man? Like, you got to talk in the morning. I was like, what time is it? She goes, you got to go home. And I had forgotten I was even talking today. I was just so tired. Some of you are so tired like that. But thank you guys so much. Those of you that funded this and helped us with scholarships, thank you. So many of you helped set up and clean up and tear down. Thank you for that. Some of you were small group leaders. Many of you are small group leaders. I see a few small group leaders in the room right now. I don't know how you're functioning, but thank you. My Life is an incredible thing that our church does. And one of the things that I love about My Life is I love that we get to put students in for extended time with their friends and with their small group leaders. One of these small group leaders right here, his name is Michael. Michael is an incredible dude, and I just want to just brag on Michael just for a couple minutes. Michael and his wife started attending our church, and Michael's like, hey, I want to get involved. I want to get plugged in to student ministry, so he meets with Philip. And Philip's like, yeah, man, absolutely. Philip can talk anybody into anything. If you've met Philip, he can just talk, period. But he can also talk people into anything. If you've never met Philip, you need to. He's an incredible student director. He loves your students and the students in our city. But Michael meets with Philip, and Philip's like, yeah, man, I definitely need you as a small group leader. And you're going to be the small group leader for senior guys. And Michael's like, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to do that. Philip's like, one small problem. So, yeah, we don't have any senior guys right now. Like, we've got them on a list. They're just not here. They don't really show up. And Michael, for months, has shown up every single Sunday, not knowing if there was even going to be a senior guy here or not for him to invest in. And so this weekend at My Life, Michael had a guy in his group, which is so cool. But there's tons of leaders just like Michael. And here is why I think that this matters. It's because of one singular quote that I have held in my heart and in my mind throughout my entire career, short may it be, in ministry. And it's this. It's from a guy named Josh Shipp. He says, every kid is one caring adult away from a success story. Every kid is one caring adult away from a success story. And we've seen this to be true. In fact, some of you have seen this to be true in your life too. In fact, if you look back over your life, you could probably think of, hopefully, I hope, my prayer for you, I hope, is that there was at least one person, one adult, that you would say, man, if it hadn't been for so-and-so, I don't know where I would be today. If it hadn't been for that football coach or that cheerleading coach or that teacher, that small group leader, that Sunday school teacher, that aunt, uncle, whoever that person is outside of your mom and dad, that you can look back and go, man, that person shaped my life for forever. Luckily, there was tons of people in my life that were like that. One of them was my football coach all throughout high school. His name is Hercules Mercury Walls. And he would introduce himself as, my name is Hercules Mercury Walls, and I don't drop no balls. Which, I actually looked up his NFL career. In 11 years, he did drop quite a few balls. So Herc, if you're watching, come on, man. But if it hadn't been for Hercules Mercury Walls, I don't know if I would even be here today. Herky saw a kid who was angry and mad at the world as his parents were going through this messy divorce. And he just made time for me. He showed up regularly. He texted me, called me, and helped my mom when I was being an idiot. And if it hadn't been for Herky, I seriously don't know if I'd be here talking to you today. Herky helped me kind of stay out of the ditch that some of us get stuck in life. For me, Herky was one of those caring adults. And if you're an adult in the room and you have kids that are a part of our student ministry or kids ministry, it's one of the main reasons why your kids love what we do here at Anthem. Because whether you realize it or not, week in and week out, there are adults and middle school and high school students, believe it or not, and college students who show up every single week and have said yes to being that caring adult in your child's story. Maybe you don't have kids, but they are showing up and they're being the caring adult in your neighbor's kids' lives or your neighbor's kids' lives. And as we think about the way that we want our church to operate, I want nothing more than for students to be in relationship with one another and with caring adults. Because here's what we know, right? Is that the people that we spend time with, it has an impact on our life. My grandma growing up would always say, show me who you're hanging out with, and I will show you who you're becoming. And it was true. For some of you, it was true too. In fact, King Solomon had something to say about this as well. He wrote this in Proverbs. He said, walk with the wise and become wise. Hopefully for some of us, that's our story. But he also warned, for a companion of fools suffers harm. Here at Anthem, we want, starting with little teeny ones all the way in Wombaland, all the way up through college and even adults, we want people to walk with other wise people. Because we have seen firsthand that relationships matter, that the relationships that we have, that they matter. That's why for some of you, you cart your kids from middle of nowhere, baseball, softball, whatever they got going on to make sure that they're here on Sunday because somewhere you learned and somewhere you knew that as a parent, parenting is hard and it's going to take someone else other than you, and that's why we have small group leaders. Here at Anthem over the years, you've heard us talk about the 5 faith catalysts, these 5 things that we've learned about, that we've seen time and time again in people's stories, in their faith journey, that have had an impact on their faith. And one of them is this, providential relationships. When you look back on your faith story, not just your life story, but your faith story, time and time again when someone tells their story, it's true in my story, I can name 1 or 2 people like, man, my faith changed when Herky entered into my life, or my story changed when Sarah, or whatever the name of the person is for you. Providential relationships. Someone that we believe God put into your life that changed your life and your faith journey forever. And here at Anthem, our goal is to try to set these up. We can't put people in your life or in your kids' lives and go, this is your providential relationship. All we can do is kind of set up the date, right? All we could do is go, hey, we're going to background check this person. We're going to train them. We're going to set them loose and give them some Red Bull, and we hope for the best, right? Like spin them up and have fun, and then they sleep in the middle of service on Sunday after my life, right? But we're trying to create as many opportunities as humanly possible for kids all the way in Wombaland to adults in their 70s and up, right? To find a providential relationship. Because time and time again, we've seen that relationships can be the biggest catalyst in someone's faith journey, or at least one of the 5 markers that we see in people's faith as it grows. Which is why if you've been around here for any period of time at Anthem, you've heard us say this over and over and over again, that life change happens best in circles rather than rows. That life change, spiritual growth happens best when we're sitting in someone's home or at a coffee shop or on someone's back porch. We're talking about life. We're sharing what's going on in our world, where students are meeting in homes or they're meeting, out in the field, wherever they're meeting. That life change happens best when we're in community with one another. For many of you, that's been your story. It's certainly been mine. Some of you know this. I was invited to Anthem for a very long time. I wanted nothing to do with church. When I moved to Gainesville, I'd completely disconnected. And if it hadn't been for the one guy that just kept inviting me incessantly, I wouldn't be here. And a six-pack of beer. That was part of the deal, right? Some of you know this story. We traded a six-pack of beer for me to come to church, and here I am. But shortly after that, I got plugged into a small group, a college small group that was led by Walt and Ryan Traxler, this amazing couple that just opened up their home to us and cooked us meals and just let us sit on their couch and ask big questions. And I was still the same angry guy that had big questions about faith that had been unanswered since I was a kid. They created a place for me. And my life changed because of a circle after spending my entire life sitting in a row. And here's what's so unique about sitting in a circle, whether we're talking about kids or you as adults, is we see time and time again that we begin to see God's faithfulness in someone else's life. And it's easier to trust him with ours, that when we hear someone else's story, when we see someone else, because there's just more people, it's just great math, that there's more things that are happening in people's lives than just our own. We begin to see through struggles with infertility or struggles with finances or messy marriages or divorce that we see God show up in people's lives. And it begins to strengthen our faith too. Some of you are in the middle of hard things right now, and you're actually already in authentic community. You're experiencing the type of things that you want your kids to experience week in and week out. You're doing the thing. And you are who you are today. You're in a better place than you would have been yesterday because you're sitting in a circle. There's something unique about being in authentic community with other people. And here's what it is that God, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, God designed us to be in relationship with one another. That in our faith was not designed to do alone. This is not a stay in your closet and pray all day kind of faith. It's an active faith. It's a faith that is meant to be experienced and enjoyed alongside other people. It's a faith that's meant to be connected with other people. Paul, who spent a ton of time helping the local church start. In fact, Paul's one of the main reasons why our church even exists today, and churches all over the country, all over the world exist. So much of what we know about the early followers of Jesus came from the writings and letters of Paul. He's a real guy who really lived. History backs all of this up. He wrote this incredible letter to a church, and we're going to find this in Hebrews. And Paul is talking to this congregation just like I'm talking to you now. This is what Paul has to say. He says, let us hold unswervingly, isn't that a fun word? Let us hold unswervingly to the hope that we profess. In other words, let us hold tightly to the faith, to the thing that we know, that we've seen. Some of the people that were still around, their parents had seen Jesus after the grave. Let us hold unswervingly tight. Let's hold tightly to our faith. For he who promised is faithful. God is good to us. And let us consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds. Paul goes on. Not giving up meeting together. I love Paul. Paul throws so much shade in his letters. He always kind of gets in there. Ready? Not giving up meeting together, throwing shade, as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. Paul, and if I can sum it up, is just saying, hey, when it comes to our faith, proximity matters. When it comes to our faith, we need to be in connection with other people. We need to be in relationship with other people. It's why for some of you, throughout this season of COVID and all the weird stuff, is you've started to drift away and fall out of contact with the people that you know who are people of faith. So is your faith. Your faith has maybe drifted. Maybe some of your personal disciplines have drifted away. Maybe for some of you, that's your story. 5, 10 years ago, you gave up on the church thing and life got a little bit hard. And now you're back and you're trying to wrestle with these things and figure it out. You know that proximity matters. It's why you're here. It's why you want your kids here week in and week out, because there's something about being in relationship with other people who are following Jesus. And we've seen as well that people lose faith when they lose contact with the people of faith. Not that they lose their religion or their biblical knowledge. That stuff all hangs around. But there's something about doing life alongside other people that challenges us to see God differently and to follow him better. To stick to maybe our personal disciplines, to maybe be the better friend, the better husband, the better wife, the better college student, because we're doing life along other side people that are striving for the exact same things. It's why you want your kids here every Sunday. It's because there's a caring adult who shows up every single week and encourages your kid to stay connected, not just to a community of faith, but to their Heavenly Father as well. Because staying connected to a community of faith grows our faith. And you've seen this in your life, I hope. And if you haven't, I'd like for you to be able to begin to experience it. That there's something about being an authentic community, there's something about just being consistent that makes all the difference. There's something about sharing life with other people that helps us see God differently. And if you've been around our church for any period of time, you've heard us say this as well, that life is better connected. That life is better when we're doing life alongside other people, that there's something that happens when we stay connected. I'll never forget this first small group that I was ever in. I got kind of busy, and there was a girl in my group. Her name's Susanna. She still leads here on Sundays. It was a co-ed college group. And I'd kind of missed a couple of these group meetings, not a Sunday, but it was like Wednesday, I think we met. And I'll never forget, she texted me and she goes, "Hey bro, where are you? Like, why haven't you been coming?" I said, "I'm really busy. I don't think I can make this work." And she responded, she said, "Are you sure?" ? And I was like, I knew that I was missed. I knew that people in my group expected me to be there. And had it not been for people like Walt and Ryan and Susanna and all these other people in my life, I wouldn't be the halfway semi-decent person I am today. But I definitely wouldn't have the faith that I have today. It's because life is truly better connected, and that staying connected to a community makes all the difference. So I want you to do something. If you're not connected in community here at Anthem, I want you to do it. I want you to get into a community group. I want you to get connected. And it's not because we earn some type of like North Point points. Like, it's not like Andy's like, "Oh, here's a North Point buck." Like, that's not how this works. There's no North Point cryptocurrency that we get, you know. That'd be cool. We should come up with that, actually. But because we have seen time and time again that when life gets hard for people, it's their community group that shows up. That time and time again, providential relationships is the winning thing. It's the thing that changes things for everyone. For some of you, like I said, you're in the thick of it right now, and you know that your group is the thing that's keeping you out of the ditch. For some of you, you're in the ditch. For some of you, you are in the middle of the hardest season of your life. And you just need some people. You just need some people who don't even know you yet, but you will soon. Who are going to walk alongside you and encourage you and go, "Hey, you know what? That thing that you're going through, we've been there too. My wife and I are going through some stuff right now we're trying to figure out health-wise. And man, if it wasn't for people in our church who have gone through the exact same thing, I don't know what we would do." I'm so grateful that there's an authentic community here that's walking with us. So I want you to do the same thing. I want you to get connected. And for some of you, I want you to do something different. I want you to create community for somebody else. Some of you have been around our church for a really long time. You've been in groups. And I'm so grateful for that. Some of you are taking a break right now from group. For like 5 years, you've been taking a break. You're like, "I'm taking a break." I'm like, "When did that start?" 5 years ago. Well, let's get it back. And maybe, just maybe, you need to create community for somebody else. Maybe your best next step is not to just be in a group, but to lead a group. Maybe not for adults. Maybe your best next step is to lead a group of upstreet kids, to show up in the life of a third or a fourth grade kid who's getting dropped off by a parent who's on the edge of their rope, who's struggling, and just needs to know that there's a caring adult like you that's showing up in the life of their kid. Maybe you're retired now and you're kind of figuring out, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to fly RC planes or something. Maybe a way better investment of your time is to lead a small group full of younger men that just need to know a guy like you, that need to be around your kind of life experience and wisdom. I want you to create community for somebody else. Now, here's what I know. Everybody's got excuses and reasons why they won't take a next step. For some of you, you had a bad church experience. You had a bad experience in group. Your group was led by a weird person. I apologize for that. Every once in a while, we pick weird people. But I had a bad experience at Chick-fil-A last week, and I'll tell you what, I was back in line the next day, okay? I'm not missing out on that chicken. Some of you just got to get back in the line. And if you had a bad group experience, hear me on this, seriously, we want to know, we want feedback. We want to know how we can make this experience better for you. Some of you go, hey, I don't really like some of the group options that you guys have right now. Could I lead my own? Could I lead my own interest group? Let's talk about it. If it aligns with what we're doing, let's make it happen. I just want you to get connected, whether it's being in group with other people or leading group for somebody else. I want you to do it. And here's why. Because just like we said, staying connected in community, staying connected to a community of faith grows your faith. And we know that this is true, and yet we don't do it. In fact, here's how I know that it's true. Because so many of you drag your kids here, or they drag you every Sunday. And you know it's good for them. You're so glad that they have a small group leader. You're so glad that there's someone pouring into their life, and yet you don't do it for you. I don't want us to be a church full of people who just want us to lead their kid in a growing relationship with Jesus. I want to be a church that leads parents to be the people to lead their kid in a relationship of Jesus alongside amazing small group leaders. I want you to get filled up so that you can fill up your kids. I want you to get filled up so you can fill up your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews, your neighbors, your coworkers. But we can't do that if we're doing life alone, because life is better connected. Because we know that staying connected to a community of faith grows our faith. In just a second, I want to bring Jason Carr back out, our groups director that you were introduced to earlier. Guys, real quick, I want to brag on Jason. We are so incredibly excited that Jason Carr is here. It is weird that there's two Jasons. We thought about voting Jason Lee off the island, but he's got to stay. But man, we are so glad that Jason Carr is here. When Jason and I started the hiring process and letting people know we were hiring for this role, if we could have made a list of the top groups directors in the country that we would just dream of having here, Jason Carr would have been on the list. And when he applied, Jason and I really couldn't even believe that he was interested in leaving Atlanta where he'd been his entire life, where he shaped indirectly so much of how we do groups today. Guys, this guy's the real deal, and I'm so excited that he's here. I'm so excited that you're going to have a guy like Jason Carr investing in your life and in your marriages and in your groups. He's the right guy for the job. So now that I've embarrassed him enough, I'm going to have him come out because I want Jason just to quickly share a little bit about his passion for groups and then to tell us, all of us, I'm leading a group. I'm following point number 2. I'm leading a group. You should sign up for it. It's going to be great. But I want him to fill us in on how we can take a next step together. Sound good?
Thanks, brother.
Yep.
Hey, gosh. That's very kind words, by the way.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Very well. Happy birthday. Hey, so I have had this thing in my house that I just sold. I had this screened-in back porch, and that's where my men's group met. That's where I had a group of teenage guys. I've led teenage guys for 25 years, and that's been a big part of my life. And the rule of the back porch is what's said there stays there. It's a safe place. In fact, I had my last in-person group this week, and the guys made this for me. To bring down here, because at some point I'm going to build a back porch down here. And but it's not about a physical porch. That's not the thing. Although it was a physical porch and it was awesome and it's legend status, It's something bigger than a physical location. It was a safe place for people to hang out and talk. It was a safe place for people to come over, good days, bad days, whatever it is, just a place to hang out. And here's our vision. Here's our goal for you, Anthem. Here's what we want for everybody here. We want you to have a safe place. We want you to be fully known. And being fully known is a good thing and it's a bad thing because we have good days and we have bad days. The best part about the porch sometimes is we'd be celebrating things and we'd be mourning things. You could laugh, you could cry, whatever it is, it's about having a place where you can just do life. We want everyone here to find your place where you can be fully known and know that you don't have to do this alone. God did not make you to do this life alone. He made you for community. And so our heart for you is to create all kinds of places for you to have that. And so today, actually on our website, we're launching a couple of things. There's a couple short-term groups that are launching. Some of them are like Theopraxis, which is a study of the Bible. One of them is Financial Peace University. If you're interested in how God says you should spend your money or how to manage your money, that's a great class for that. We're launching I Said This, You Heard That, which is about personalities. If you've ever thought about being kind of self-aware of how God's made you, that's an incredible group to go to because you kind of learn about how God's made you, but it also helps you understand other people too, which is super cool. We have a college Bible study that's starting soon. There's a whole bunch of stuff on the site you can see there. There's a couple existing groups that are looking for people. There's a men's group. There's an empty nest group. There's a couple married groups that are looking for members that would love to have people join an existing community. But like John mentioned, maybe God's stirring something in your heart that doesn't exist yet. And so on that page, you'll see my email address. Send me an email. We'd love to talk and see, is it a fit kind of mission vision of where we're going here? We'd love to help you kind of figure out how to create a safe place for everyone. We want everyone here to be known. We want to help you help the people in your life be known as well. So we're really excited about kind of this new season. It's going to get messy because real life is messy. Like real small groups are not like, hey, great. That's just not how it works. Like real life is messy because you have your stuff and I have our stuff. But we're kind of committing to the mess. We're going to jump right in and love each other and create all kinds of pockets of back porches all over Gainesville. Not just physically, but it's kind of the idea of creating safe places all over. And so we're really excited to jump into this new season to launch some new groups, kind of help some existing groups, add some folks, but also at the same time, if God's put something in your heart, we want to come alongside you and help you work on creating safe places for people in your life too.
It's awesome. So whether you want to be in a group or lead a group, whether it's an adult group or maybe you want to be an inside out or a transit Wombly Upstreet small group leader, we want to help you do what we do here at Anthem, which is create community, not just for ourselves, but for others too. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you guys about 60 seconds before we dismiss you. And if you're don't leave, stay put. And some of you are already in group, feel free to tweet, Instagram, Facebook, whatever your deal is. But
go to Facebook, say happy birthday to you.
Don't do that. But so many of you are not in group, and we want you to take a next step. So right now, we're going to give you 60 seconds. Go here, look at some of the things that are there, sign up for a group, and we'll be right back. All right, I think that was about 60 seconds. If you're still working on it, keep working on it. The bottom line is this: we want you guys to experience community. Whether you've experienced it before or you never have, we're just excited for you to take a next step. If you have more questions about what this whole thing is or just questions about Anthem, Jason Lee, our lead pastor, and Jason Carr, our groups director, will also be in the gallery. Any questions that you have or you're like, man, I think that Anthem needs this type of group, those are the guys to talk to, and they will be in the gallery. We're really excited for you guys to take a next step. Jason, as we wrap up, would you mind praying for us?
I'd love to.
Cool.
I'd love to. If you guys pray with me. Hey, Lord, thanks for today. Thanks for this place. God, you didn't make us to do this life alone. And thanks for the value this church has in creating all kinds of pockets of safe places. I pray for everyone in this room. everyone hearing this message, God, would you give us the wisdom to take that next step and the courage to do the same, God? Would you give us, God, just that ability to take the step to put ourselves in the community? Some of us are excited about it. Some of us already experiencing of it. Some of us, it's our deepest fear of being fully known. God, would you remind us that you love us for who we are, not who we should be, who we think we should be, God, that you love us for who we already are. Would you help us walk in a group knowing that we can become better followers of you in community? So, Lord, I just pray that you give us all that wisdom to step into that and show us the right place. And, Father, if it's not existing already, would you help us create that and to create all kinds of pockets of safe places in Gainesville for everybody to know how much you love them and to help us grow in our relationship with you. And we pray that in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.